Men in all black uniforms began entering the hall quietly and locking every door, every window, and every exit. No means of escape, no way to call for help, no camera, no phone. Everyone thought it would be the biggest celebration of the year, Mr. Jide's welcome party. 60 people attended, and by the next morning, all guests at the party were reported missing. At first, nobody panicked. People joked online that it was hangover weekend. But when parents, siblings, and partners tried calling their loved ones, every phone said the same thing: switched off, not reachable, and it had been 24 hours. Some families rushed to the police station. They were dismissed with the usual excuses: they will return, give it time. But then posts began appearing online. My brother went for Mr. Jide's welcome party yesterday. No call, no text, nothing since. My daughter didn't come home after the party. Her phone is off. Please help me. Everyone was posting about their missing loved ones. And the strangest part, even Mr. Jide, the host of the party, was missing too. People whispered that maybe the party was a setup. Maybe the host lured them somewhere dark. The comments grew darker, but no one knew the truth was far more twisted. Because the one who actually planned everything was Lara, a quiet and reserved girl, which no one at the party knew was Mr. Jide's girlfriend. Months before the party, something strange had started happening to Mr. Jide. Every time he stepped into his office, his nose would burn. He would sneeze, cough, and struggle to breathe. But the moment he stepped out, he felt normal again. At first, he thought it was stress or allergies, but when it continued for weeks, he knew something wasn't right. So quietly, without telling anyone, Jide installed the hidden camera inside his office, and that decision became the key to uncovering everything. One particular morning, he was served a cup of tea from the office kitchen. Nothing unusual, but by the time he got home that evening, he felt like his body was shutting down. His temperature spiked, his hands shook, he could barely stand. When the doctor arrived, he didn't mince words. "This is poison, slow acting and deliberate," he said. Barely able to speak, Jide handed Lara a small flash drive. "If anything happens to me, check the camera." 4 days later, he died. Quietly, painfully, alone with the only person he trusted. And while the world had no idea, Lara took his phone and messaged the company they both work with, exactly as they planned, that Jide had been sent on an urgent business trip to their foreign branch to train new workers, and no one knew when he would return. Lara returned to work like nothing happened. To everyone in the company, she was just the quiet cleaner, the girl who mopped the floors, wiped the desk, and blended into the background. Nobody knew anything was going on between her and Mr. Jide. Nobody even suspected she knew him beyond a simple "good morning, sir." And since Lara used his phone to message the company, everyone fully believed that Mr. Jide was truly out of the country, on a business trip, a mission the company supposedly assigned to help orient new staff in their foreign branch. So the office moved on. People laughed, gossiped, worked, everything felt normal. Until one morning, the CEO walked in with a big smile and announced that Mr. Jide would be returning to the country soon. He said there would be a welcome party, a grand one, to celebrate their star staff. The whole office erupted in excitement. People bought clothes, prepared gifts, rehearsed speeches, and decorated the event hall like it was a royal celebration. But the night of the welcome party came, and not one person who attended it made it home. 60 people vanished into thin air. And the biggest shock, Mr. Jide, the man they were celebrating, never showed up. What happened at the party was something nobody in that office was ever prepared for. The party started exactly 6 p.m. A grand celebration everyone had looked forward to. The hall glowed, the decorations sparkled, and music filled the air. Everyone came dressed, excited, and ready to welcome Mr. Jide back home. By 7 p.m., it was announced that Mr. Jide was delayed and would arrive around 9:30 p.m. They were also told to submit their phones and gadgets at the entrance, which they did without complaining. They thought it was the CEO, Mr. Balogun's idea in order to reduce distractions. So everyone dropped their devices happily without questioning. The music was loud and everyone was eating, laughing and enjoying it themselves. Lara too moved around like a normal person, blending in and smiling until 9 p.m. on the dot. The lights went off. Total darkness. At first, they thought it was a technical mistake, but before they could adjust, men in all black uniforms began entering the hall quietly and locking every door, every window, and every exit. No means of escape, no way to call for help, no camera, no phone. And when the lights flickered back on, the guests froze. Standing in front of the hall, calmly, were two people, Lara and Mr. Balogun, the owner of the company. And that was the moment everyone realized that they were not at a party, but in a trap. The hall was silent, terrified bodies shaking on the floor. And above them all, Lara and the CEO stood tall, like judges on a stage. Then the CEO's voice tore through the darkness. Listen, this is not a welcome party. Jide is dead. Some people cried, some fainted, but Lara didn't flinch. She only stared at them, cold and steady. The CEO continued. He explained how Lara was never just a cleaner. Months before all this, the CEO had hired her in secret, not as a cleaner, but as an undercover agent. And her mission was to blend in quietly and expose the people embezzling funds in the company. Lara's job was simple. Watch everyone, quietly, patiently, and invisibly. People began looking at each other in confusion, fear rising like heat. None of you knew, he said. Not even Jide knew. Lara's voice joined his. She explained how she cleaned the office by day, but at night she listened to their voices in toilet stalls, hallways, and empty meeting rooms. She had planted voice recorders in places no one ever imagined, and slowly she learned everything, including the day a group in the account department started stealing. 3 months of embezzlement until Jide caught them. He confronted them quietly, warned them to stop, and demanded they repay every naira by deducting 30% of their salary every month. He didn't report them, not yet. He thought they would change. The room grew colder. The CEO stepped forward and said, what none of you knew is that Jide's death was not an accident. It started the day he confronted you. Lara's eyes scanned the terrified crowd and said, but the real confession begins tonight. Lara stepped forward and continued. After Jide confronted them, they pretended to behave, but unknown to Jide, unknown to even Lara at that time, those same people he warned had already started planning against him. And the truth only came out after his death. Jide had been complaining for months that each time he sat in his office, he would sneeze and cough uncontrollably, like something was choking him. It got so bad that he couldn't breathe properly. But before then, he had noticed a strange scent in his office. He had searched everywhere. He even asked Lara if she put any air freshener there. Nobody knew anything, so he assumed he was allergic. Until one evening, he had closed from work, but came back to pick something he forgot. And there, through the slight opening of his office door, he saw Mr. Toba, one of the very men he confronted for embezzlement, going through his personal files, searching for something. Toba didn't know he had been seen. Jide walked away, quietly, but the next morning, he installed a hidden camera in the office, which caught the footage in the flash drive Lara now held. And when Lara finally watched, her entire body went cold. Because on the video, at 11:47 p.m., a figure dressed in all black entered Jide's office. The person moved straight to the bookshelf, reached behind the last row of books, and pulled out a diffuser. A diffuser nobody knew existed. The person opened it, replaced the contents, and hid it back perfectly. Lara watched the video again and again. She zoomed in, and that was when she saw it. The wristwatch, a familiar wristwatch she had seen every single day in that office. It belonged to Chris, one of the very men Jide confronted. But now, a bigger problem stood in the center of the hall, like a shadow nobody could escape. Because yes, the diffuser explained how Jide had been slowly destroyed from inside. But Jide did not die from that. He died because someone poisoned him. Lara's voice trembled, but she stood firm before the terrified crowd as she continued.
Before Jide died, the doctor confirmed it. He ingested poison, real poison, something strong and deliberate. Everyone in the hall shifted, eyes widened, and hearts beat faster. That morning, before he left the office, he only took one thing he took every day, the tea. The room went silent. The tea his secretary always prepared for him. People gasped. Some started shaking their heads in disbelief as Lara continued. That tea was the only thing he consumed before he came home, complaining of sharp pains. 4 days later, he died. Now, the fear in the all turned into panic. A few people started crying openly. So yes, Lara said, her voice echoing. We know who planted the diffuser. We know who wanted him to suffer slowly. But the real question is, who poisoned the tea?
Everyone's eyes turned to only one person, Amaka, Jide's secretary, the only person who prepared the tea every morning. Amaka's hands shook violently as Lara called her name. She fell to her knees immediately. Tears poured down her face as she said, I swear, I didn't want to do it. I was forced. Forced? By who? The hall exploded with whispers. Lara raised her hand for silence, and Amaka finally spoke the name. Tunji, the CEO's only son, Jide's best friend. And then, Tunji stood up, slowly, as if he had been waiting for this moment. His voice was bitter when he finally spoke. Yes, I told her to do it. Jide was too perfect and too loved. Everything my father wanted in a son, but never saw in me. The room froze. Tunji continued, eyes burning with jealousy. He was supposed to die quietly in 2 weeks, during his mission abroad. Nobody would have known. But I think the stupid gas he kept inhaling made the poison work faster. He looked directly at his father. All of you loved him so much. I just wanted my chance. They all erupted. Screams, cries, and shock everywhere. Lara just stared at him, her expression dark and cold. This time, the truth was louder than a gunshot. Fear pinned everyone to the ground. The same men who had stormed the hall earlier, locking the doors and windows, now stood around the culprits, handcuffs tight, guns drawn, and faces cold. They weren't attackers, they were Lara's colleagues, and this was the end of the road. The CEO stood there, shaking, staring at the people who had betrayed him, his staff and his own son. He couldn't speak, he couldn't even look at them. Lara stepped forward, calm and steady, nothing like the cleaner everyone thought she was. This is why we hid Jide's death. We buried him quietly. Only his family knew. We needed silence to catch every single person involved, she said. Every message you received from him, every email and every excuse about his business trip, that was me, keeping the company calm while we gathered evidence. Jide's family walked out from the back of the hall, crying, escorted by Lara's team. The room fell into every painful hush. The CEO finally whispered, Tunji, why? Tunji turned his face away, defeated. Lara's eyes burned with anger as she stepped closer. You call yourself his friend, but killed him because you wanted his position. Because you couldn't stand that it was better. But now you've lost everything. And just like that, the lies they hid behind collapsed.